Welcome in, guys, to another episode of the Fly High Wi-Fi podcast. I'm Praz23 or Sharp or Ryan, whatever you guys want to call me, and I have Mrs. Wi-Fi here with me as usual. It's been a little while since we've been here. Life has been hectic for a lot of us, but we're back. We're back. We're gonna find it, and also, guys, be ready for a change of day as we move forward. It seems like our schedules are gonna be um in a whole different sense with the summertime coming and a lot of work for one of us over here um moving forward, so the day's probably going to move to the weekend, so it'll be more of a weekend midday kind of thing, so that way it won't interfere with too much, and we hope to see as many of you as possible when we are there. If not, you guys know you can catch us on all the major platforms on the Fly High Wi-Fi podcast, and also on YouTube, Facebook. They all get uploaded there if you happen to miss any of the episodes and want to go back and rewatch it. So, I hope everybody's been well. Uh, my life's been crazy. So, no, I'm well. Just crazy.
Lots been
Uh,
going on.
how
And
have
the
you been?
switch might me?
Yes.
Good. I think. I don't know, just keep it on, keep it on.
Yeah.
The switch of date we could probably switch back at the end of August when I'm
Okay.
done
So it'll be
with
just temporary,
my
guys.
yeah.
All
So
right.
stay
Guys,
tuned kind of as we're doing long days and whatnot.
yeah,
Just
just be
want to make sure I'm
flexible
not
with
every
us,
week.
but we will be here. Um, yes, my wife did break her leg. And she will be back in a couple weeks to into walking cast, but that's why my life's been hectic. But she's all
That's why
right.
we disappeared in February.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, guys, tonight we have two topics. We are gonna be moving with. I don't know which one you want to start with. But we are gonna be
Um,
talking about alcohol use disorder and let them theory. I'm not sure exactly what they were. I didn't have a whole lot of time to do research, but I got this one right here, and she's gonna let us all in on all the secrets.
I feel like you probably know alcohol use disorder.
It
So we'll jump into that
sounds
one.
okay.
So alcohol use disorder is a diagnosis used by medical professionals to describe someone with an alcohol problem to various degrees.
Okay.
Alcoholism is a non-medical term used most often in everyday language and within the rooms of AA. So
Okay. So it's a big thing
alcoholism
in
is
AA.
like, yeah, alcoholism is a slang term. So when you're diagnosed with alcoholism, you're going to be diagnosed with alcohol use disorder. That's going to be the actual diagnosis.
Okay.
It is a medical condition characterized by a pattern of alcohol use that involves problems controlling their drinking despite causing issues in a social aspect, occupational aspect, and health wise. Pretty typical from what we hear, just
Mhm.
under a different name versus alcoholism and
Right.
alcohol
Most
use
people
disorder.
really know it as alcoholism, right? Yeah.
Correct, yeah. But the actual terminology for the diagnosis is alcohol use disorder.
Good to know.
Um, so jumping into some statistics, 28.9 million people ages 12 and older have had alcohol use disorder in 2023.
Did you say age 12 it starts at?
Mhm.
That one's got my mind blown.
I feel like some of these statistics are really going to get you.
Wow.
So, really focusing on that age 12, 16.8 million males ages 12 and older have alcohol.
16.8 million.
and 12 million females ages 12 and older.
Man, that's crazy.
I want to specifically focus on the ages 12 to 17
Right?
for
Most of your developmental
boys,
ages.
boys and girls. So out of that number, 270,000 boys ages 12 to 17 have suffered from alcohol use disorder,
It's too many. Way too many.
and 487,000 girls ages 12 to 17
It's
have
double, almost
suffered.
double the number. So it's worse in females than it is males.
Mhm.
That's
And
crazy. I
typically,
didn't see that.
but once you hit the ages of 18 and older, alcohol use disorder is worse in males than females. So it's 16.6 million in men and 11.5 million in women.
Okay. I
So kind
wonder
of flip flops,
if
but it's
like
worse
I wonder
in
if a lot of sports has anything to do with that from like 12 to 17 for boys as they're like in sports more and they have something to strive for while they're in
it's
school.
possible. It's definitely possible. I can't speak to that. I mean, but I can say like sports are what kept me out of trouble when I was younger
Right, that's what
and
I
no
think,
interest.
and I know a
Yeah.
lot of more males that's really until they get into alcohol and the opposite sex, um they really focus on sports a lot.
hmm And then the other statistic that stuck out is it breaks it down into like ethnicities. The highest ethnicity was 18.7 million white people ages 12 and older are the ones that struggle with alcohol use disorder. The
That's
next
crazy.
highest would be 3.3 million Black or African American.
15 million difference? That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. The rest are all under a million.
White men are the drunks, apparently.
White men and women.
Or white men and women, right? How did that's crazy.
So who's typically at risk for developing alcohol use disorder is steady if you are someone who steadily drinks over time, so it just becomes a habit for you, so then you become reliant on it. You start drinking at a young age. It's within your family history. So this is actually influenced by a genetic factor. So it is
Okay.
passed down through family genetics.
Wow.
If you have depression or other mental health problems, this can play a part in it, like anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, or bipolar disorder can add to your risk of developing this. A history of trauma,
Okay.
having weight loss surgery was something that puts you at a higher risk of developing alcohol use disorder.
I wonder why that is. That one does
It
kind of
was
catch me off
separate
guard.
research studies that indicated it, but it
Mm-hmm.
didn't say like it was just saying that people that had had the surgery developed it afterwards. So,
Hmm.
and it just had something to do with like your drastic changes of lifestyle. Like you can't eat certain
I
things,
was
you
gonna
have to
say
change a
maybe it
lot.
has to do with like if they ate a lot and they're replacing all that extra eating because they'll get sick if they eat too much with drinking.
Mhm.
Another habit, you know?
And they can't specifically prove that, but that's what the study found. It's just like the drastic changes in your life had
Mm-hmm.
led them to kind of cope with alcohol. And then social and cultural factors, that tends to be just kind of a common thing in all of these, is your parents, peers, and other role models have an impact on your risk of developing. So some symptoms of alcohol use disorder, we'd already mentioned a few, but craving alcohol beverages, continuing to use beverages even though it affects your relationships, your work life, even health, drinking more than you intend or for longer than you intended. So you're not able to stick to the boundaries you've set for yourself because once you start, you can't stop. Spending lots of time obtaining or drinking alcoholic beverages or recovering from hangovers caused by drinking. And this is like an everyday thing. Repeatedly trying to reduce how much you drink and failing, and then giving up important social work or recreational activities because of alcohol.
Okay.
So impacts on your safety from this is obviously like drinking and driving. We see that stuff everywhere. Or accidental injury, such as drowning. So people drink, swim, or do something like that, and they accidentally get hurt based on them being under the influence. Relationship problems, that can be friendships, family, and then obviously the relationship we all think about. Poor performance at work or school. You have an increased likelihood of committing violent crimes.
Hmm. Didn't see that one coming.
So once you're deeper into your, like if you're on that higher scale, because it's at a various degrees, if you're on a higher degree, you are more at risk of having problems with other substances. And then you're also at a higher risk of attempted or completed suicide.
Right. Depression. Well, with alcohol.
Mhm. So you also have a higher likelihood of developing liver disease, having digestive problems, heart problems, developing diabetes, eye problems for women. You can cause birth defects. You can cause brain or bone damage and neurological issues to yourself and having a weakened immune system.
I didn't know drinking weakened your immune system. I know it's really bad when you're taking antibiotics too, because you just pee it out.
Mhm.
That's crazy. I still
So
the 12 to 17 still got me mind blown here.
the statistics, I mean, a lot of people kind of already know what alcohol use disorder is just because it is a common thing to hear about or talk about. They show it in movies a lot, and so you kind of have the basis of it, but the statistics are just something that you.
I would have never imagined the numbers that are that high
Mhm.
to be already diagnosed with it between 12 and 17 is just wild.
I think substance use is becoming actually like more prevalent. I mean, I was listening to a podcast that was talking about they're teaching kids how to use Narcan now in school in case it's something that their friends are doing. And I was like, I think that
Wow.
is just like, I mean, I know Narcan doesn't have anything to do with the alcohol, but it's just like, it's something that's becoming so common now, even
Right?
in younger kids, that they're being taught. It's not even just like CPR anymore. Like I knew how to do CPR in case somebody needed it, or like a
Yeah.
Heimlich maneuver, but now it's becoming that stuff and like this is how you use Narcan to save somebody. And I think
Right.
cool, like it's something that should be common knowledge, but I don't think it's like 12,
No.
10, 12 year
I bet
olds.
you they know how to use a Narcan, but if somebody needs their EpiPen, they don't know how to do that.
It's yeah,
You know, that's crazy to me. Jerbear said those ages, do they give more detail like region and upbringing? It's just probably generalized, right?
it's generalized to their ethnicity. So it breaks it down into like
Okay.
Asian,
Ethnicity.
Hispanic, white, and
Okay.
white was the dominant like ethnicity that was in those.
Yeah, it's crazy, Derpy. It uh, teaching kids how to use Narcan in schools is just that's something that we need to fix. We need
Mhm.
to get a hold of our generation, the kids, and teach them. Bring Dare back. Is Dare still a thing?
I had talked about that. I was like, I feel like every hallway I saw like a duck smoking a cigarette and
Right.
stuff like that. And I was like, obviously didn't stop people from doing it, but I feel like it was just
The awareness was there.
embedded. Yeah, it was embedded in me. Like I can picture all of those little animals having a cigarette in their mouth.
A week of it, Jerry. Red ribbon week. He said. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, that's one
I
week.
don't,
We need it every day.
yeah, I was going to say it's definitely a way different world we're living in. And the people that were talking on this podcast, they have an 18-month-old little girl, and they were saying like they won't allow
Mhm.
their kid to carry on. They have obviously have more like conservative views. They won't allow their kid to carry on Narcan. They're
No,
also like,
absolutely
I'm
not.
not. They'll teach them about the dangers, but they don't think it's the right way of doing.
Yeah. I just
They don't know the right way of doing it, but they don't. They think you're saying
and I
do
know
it, and this is how
like
you.
the accessibility to things is a lot different now too. Also because of we'll say
So I'm like,
you have your wax pens and you have your vapes and you have all those different things that are easier that we didn't have as kids. If you wanted to go smoke some marijuana, you had to go outside. Or if you were smoking it somewhere else, everybody knew you were smoking it. If you wanted to get a
I think
beer or just sneak it into school, vodka in a water bottle, all that stuff was like a thing that we knew about, but we weren't doing it.
it's a different world too. I feel like people don't have the kids aren't off the radar. I mean, I feel like they weren't off the radar before, but they were a little more sacred. Like I know where I grew up, kids were definitely like not, I guess, the prime target for people.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, it just I don't know. There's got to be more we can do as a society to help with that.
I mean, reason we're just saying these numbers, like the 12, and you
That's
think
the
that's when they're
disturbing
getting
one.
diagnosed. That's when they're getting diagnosed with the problem.
Right. How long has
So
it
it's
been a problem?
starting, yeah, it's that's starting before then. It's starting when they're younger.
Yeah, it's I know at 12 years old I wasn't thinking about drinking. I'll tell you that. It's crazy. I
No,
didn't. I
yeah.
had an older brother. I had a 6 year older brother, so he was partying all the time. You know what I did? I cleaned up after him when he partied on the weekends, so he wouldn't get in trouble by my dad. Made sure that all the beer bottles were cleaned up and all the guys were out of the house before my dad got back from his weekend trip for a pool tournament. Like, but I wasn't over here trying to steal his beer cans and stuff. I was trying to protect my brother.
Yeah. We can go back to a different topic that we had talked about,
What's that?
the high functioning codependent.
Oh God, imagine. As if I didn't struggle enough with that topic. You really just want to throw it back at me like that?
Just had to remind you a little bit.
Yeah, it's just in my nature. It's just who I am. Can't help it. Just called out right in face to face like that. That's wild. Yeah,
That's what I'm here for.
I felt attacked that day, and she still throwing jabs at me.
I mean, I felt attacked when I was doing research. So
Well,
I have to.
yeah, it's so true though. That one is a topic I would love to go over again and get real deep in with because, like you said, there wasn't a whole lot on it yet. And she was just now starting to
No,
dig
yeah.
into it.
When she gets more, we will do more.
Oh yeah, heck, we might even have to open up a survey for ourselves and see how many people like can match the criteria that they think if they can find out that it's for them too, and they be like, wow, I really do have have it just like I did, and it gets thrown at me.
uh I told everyone, oh, so many people to read that book. Should be her like spokesperson at this point. Because I'm like, yeah, go do this.
Yeah, I have to get some links for it too, and get people to. they want it and stuff.
All right. Well, that's what I got for
All right, guys. So we learned
alcohol.
today that uh no, not an OF link, Ricky. Jeez, oh Pete's kidding. Um what was I saying now, you little stinker?
We learned
We were talking about alcoholism, or known as now I don't even think of the name of it. Gosh, Cricky threw me off
alcohol
my game.
use disorder.
Alcohol use disorder. And it goes all the way down to ages 12 to 17. And it's a lot higher number than I would love to see ever again. It's crazy. Guys, if you know anybody struggling, don't just call them out for it. You got to address it in the correct manner. You really do. Because if you don't, it's going to only create more problems. If you don't feel you're the one to do it, you got to find somebody that can actually hit home with it and not make the situation worse. Maybe even take them to get help. They might not want to do it themselves. They might know they have an issue, but they don't know how to address it or what to do about it. Be there for them,
Mhm.
right? It's a big problem. It's an addiction. It really is. And if you guys need anybody to talk to, we're here. DMs are always open on everything. My personal phone number is always available. All right.
Do you remember the next topic?
I am ready to go to the next topic. You ready?
Yeah, I was just reading some of them.
Oh, your
I also was
notes.
seeing if you actually remember the next topic or not.
Let them theory.
Yeah, good job.
I'm pretty sure
Okay,
this one's pretty
so
self-explanatory too, but I oh
it might catch you a
no.
little bit. So it is a very
Okay.
popular thing that people hear. I mean, you see people getting
Okay.
like the tattoos of like let them and stuff like that. But another thing I was listening to that caught my ear of we hear the let them theory, but there's like one step that a lot of people leave out of the let them theory.
Okay.
So the basic of the let them theory, it emphasizes the importance of letting others be who they are, accepting situations as they unfold, and redirecting focus to what's within your power. So to you, what's the let them theory? Like what do you
So to me, like you said, let them be who they are, right? That's probably one of the biggest things with having kids that I struggle with the most because they're their own person. They're not you. They're not their mother. They are their own person, their own habits and personality and, and drive and work ethic. It's their own. You can try to teach them what you know, but at the end of the day, you can't force them to be you or do the things that you think they should do. And so I think the let them be themselves thing would be a lot of let them find themselves too.
that's like the first part of the let them theory. All
Okay.
the stuff on online is like kind of let them be you. But when it comes back to you, a lot of people don't let that go. A lot of people hang on. You always say let them, but you're still holding on and it's still taking time from you.
Mm-hmm.
The second part of the let them theory that people don't talk about is the let me.
Let me. Okay.
So it's let them, then let me.
Okay.
You have to take control of the situation for yourself. You still have to evaluate what in that situation is bothering you.
Okay.
So essentially, the let them theory is a simple mindset tool that has two parts. First is telling yourself, let them, during any moment in life that you feel annoyed, frustrated, stressed out, or worried about a situation or another person. And as soon as you say those two words, you're releasing control of what another person thinks, says, does, or believes and feels. Then once you do that, and you can't control that person, you have to take back the control of your time and energy and say, let me. There's two parts to it. What do you think about that situation and the other person? What do you or don't do in the response to the other person or the situation? And what do you do in response to your emotions?
Right.
So when you kind of go through the whole process, you're no longer letting it weigh on you. It's
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just gonna let them do their thing, but they still sit there and they think about it.
They let
That's
it.
not,
They ponder all day about it, or how they can fix it,
yeah.
or what they can do to make
Or
it better.
you're Facebook stalking them, or you're not letting them at that. Or you let them, but now you're not letting you. You're not
Right.
letting yourself because you're still invested in that situation. So taking control of your time back is the second part and actually the most important part because you're taking back your control of the situation because they're out doing their thing and they're probably not concerned about it.
Absolutely not.
So, but also remembering that it's also healthy to care about what people think of you to an extent,
To an extent, absolutely.
to an extent, because if you don't, then you're crossing into that narcissistic
Mm-hmm.
line. So you have to learn, uh,
This kid always comes out of the cuts with some crazy. If it's
so
talking,
you have to, you have to learn a balance on like the let you part. So I think the
Abs-
biggest part of this is like the ultimate boundary between you and the rest of the world.
right. Barrier, or what do we call them? Um,
Boundary.
Boundaries. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You gotta. These are where boundaries come into play for this too.
Mm-hmm. So that was the part of the let them theory that I really, because again, let them theory is pretty self-explanatory, but that second part,
For
everyone seems to forget or leave out.
well,
The let you part is the most important part because it's your self accountability that people are like,
they need to come up with a different name to where you can get both into the theory instead of just to let them.
yeah, mm-hmm,
And name
just
it to
say both.
let us maybe.
So just say both. Let them let you.
Yeah, let them let you theory. Yeah,
Or, let them let me.
right. I think that's probably why it the second part gets left out is because it says let them theory, and it's
Mm-hmm.
basically a one sided thing.
And it's not. It's a two-sided thing. It's them
And I have can think of so many
and they.
situations where it has happened to me, especially with a lot of my friends that were drug addicts. I would say, "All right, you're on your own, not be an enabler anymore." But as soon as they would be gone, I'd still be figuring out how I can make it better.
Mm-hmm. You weren't doing the let you part.
Mm.
You were trying to do the let them, like the let them theory, but
I did
you
half
weren't
of
doing
it,
the second half.
50%. Yeah, 50%. Kind of like my school grades, 50%. I mean, what?
Believable.
Yes. It's not that I wasn't intelligent. I just didn't enable myself. I didn't put myself forward at my best foot. That was for sure. I was bored too, though.
Yep, that's it.
That's
All I
everything.
got. Mm-hmm.
All right, perfect. So we tried something new, guys. With this, we went on 3 different platforms tonight, and it also will be uploaded to all the platforms for just the episode and the vocal side of it. So on Facebook it will be the whole thing, YouTube it will be the whole video. But for the live, we have tried it on Rumble, Kick, and Twitch tonight, guys. And for everybody that joined all the channels, I and Mrs. Wi-Fi will say thank you. Hope it all went well. Uh, it's a learning curve. We're trying to find out a way to reach out as much as possible everywhere we can, even if it's only a couple people at a time. It's just reaching out and doing what we can to raise awareness, bring in different topics. And again, guys, if you guys want to hear about anything that is important to you, please let us know. We'll do some research, do what we can, try to bring as much light or answer questions that you guys might have. Again, I'm not a certified anything. I am just here as myself that likes to do some research here and there. The statistics and the facts come from this one because she is actually going to school for all this stuff, guys. So it's huge. And again, be patient with us on the next date. We will be around. It might be a weekend. It might be a Thursday. It will all be posted on the socials, the Discord, and everything, so you guys can come join us. And if you guys happen to miss it at that time, it will be uploaded for you guys to listen at a later time. Again, on behalf of myself, Fly High Wi Fi, Mrs. Wi Fi, I just want to say thank you guys. Until the next time, we will see you then. Bye.
Bye.